Chapter 9 of the Spinster book. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. The Spinster book by Myrtle Reed. Chapter 9. Widowers and Widows. Next to burglars, mice, and greenworms, every normal girl fears a widow. Courtships have been upset, and expected proposals have vanished into thin air simply because a widow has come into the game. There is only one thing to do in such a case: retreat gracefully and leave the field to her. A widow's degree of blandishment is conservatively estimated at 25 spinster power. At almost every session of spinsters, the question comes up for discussion. It is difficult to see just where the charm lies. A widow has, of course, a superior knowledge of ways and means. She has fully learned the value of silence, of food, and of judicious flattery. But these accomplishments may be acquired by the observing spinster who gives due attention to the subject. The mystery lies deeper than is first suspected. It is possible that the knowledge of her own limitations has something to do with it. A girl who has been flattered, adored, placed upon a pedestal, and worshipped naturally comes to the conclusion that she belongs there. She issues her commands from that height and conveys to man various delicate reminders of his servility. When the same girl is married and, by due operation of natural law, becomes a widow, she doubtless has come to a better understanding of the pedestal idea. Hence she does not attempt the impossible, and satisfies herself with working those miracles which are comparatively simple. A widow has all of the freedom of a girl, combined with the liberty of a married woman. She has the secure social position of a matron, without the drawback of a husband. She is nearer absolute independence than other women are ever known to be. Where a girl is strong and self-reliant, a widow is helpless and confiding. She can never carry her own parcels, put on her own overshoes, or button her own gloves. A widow's shoelaces have never been known to stay tied for any length of time, unless she has shapeless ankles and expansive feet. A widow's telegrams must always be taken to the office by some man. Timetables are beyond her understanding, and she never knows about trains. It frequently takes 3 or 4 men to launch a widow upon a 200-mile journey, while a girl can start across the continent with considerably less commotion. The inference is, of course, that she has been accustomed to these delicate attentions, that the dear departed has always done such things. The pretty way in which she asks favors carries out the delusion. He would be a brute indeed who could refuse the little service for which she pleads. The dear departed, naturally, was delighted to do these things, or he would not have done them, such being the way of the married man. Consequently, the lady was very tenderly loved, and men follow each other like sheep in matters of the heart. The attraction a widower has for a girl is in inverse proportion to a widow's influence over a man. It is true that the second wife is usually better treated than the first, and that the new occupant of a man's heart reaps the benefit of her predecessor's training. But it is not until spinsterhood is fully confirmed by gray hair and the family Bible that a girl begins to look with favor upon the army of the detached. It seems to her that all the romance is necessarily gone, and it is romance upon which her soul feeds. There can be none of that dear delight in the first home building, which is the most beautiful part of marriage to a girl. Her pretty concern about draperies and colors is all an old story to the man. She may even have to buy her kitchenware all alone, and it is considered the nicest thing in the world to have a man along when pots and pans are bought. If widowers and widows would only mate with each other, instead of trespassing upon the hunting grounds of the unmarried. It is an exceptional case in which the bereaved are not mutually wary. They seem to prefer the unfair advantage gained by having all the experience on one side. The normal man proposes with ease and carelessness, but the ceremony is second nature to a widower. If he meets a girl he likes, he proceeds at once to business, and is slow indeed for his kind if he does not offer his hand and heart within a week. A clever man once wrote a story describing the coming of a girl to a widower's house. With care and forethought, the dying wife had left a letter for her successor, which the man fearlessly gave her before she had taken off her hat, because, as the storyteller naively adds, she was 28 and very sane. This letter proved to be various admonitions to the bride and earnest hopes that she might make her husband happy. It was all very pretty, and it was surely a nice letter, but no woman could fail to see that it was an exquisite revenge upon the man who had been rash enough to install another in the place of the dead. There was not a line which was not kind, nor a word which did not contain a hidden sting. It would be enough to make one shudder all one's life. This hand of welcome extended from the grave. Yet everything continued happily, perhaps because a man wrote the story. A woman demands not only all of a man's life, but all of his thoughts after she is dead. The grave may hide much, but not that particular quality in women's nature. If it is common to leave letters for succeeding wives, it is done with sinister purpose. Romance is usually considered an attribute of youth, and possibly the years bring views of marriage which are impossible to the younger generation. No girl in her wildest moments ever dreams of marrying a widower with 3 or 4 children, yet when she is well on in her 30s, with her heart still unsatisfied, She often does